Hey everyone, this is a little tutorial to show you how to make that colored powder that you see in the color run videos or in Devon Supertramp videos or in this video here or in one of the other color festival videos that you see. It's primarily used in India for, I've forgotten the name of it, color festival. This is the natural way of making it. You can do it through paint powder, but that can be toxic. And most of them are made like this or with just normal flour, but normal flour is a bit harder because it turns into a dough and all this. So I use cornstarch, 100% cornstarch. It's also called potato flour sometimes and a whole bunch of other stuff, but this is the stuff that you make that non-Newtonious liquid, which we're about to make, but we're not going to make it for that way. Then the dye that I use is icing dye. It's a gel that I use, and then just get yourself some water. A latex glove will help a lot because it will stop your hand turning into the color that you are mixing. So, oh look at that. My glove's got a massive giant hole in it. Give me a second, I'm back. So, put your latex glove on. And now, we're gonna get cornstarch. I've got a 500 gram bag here that I bought off eBay. There's a really good distributor called Natural Style, little product placement there. And they sell 500 gram bags and it's pretty awesome. Because I got like 6 and it only cost me £30 or something, I don't know. They were the cheapest alternative. So, that's that, put it all in there. Now, the trick is to use as little water as possible because the more water you use, the longer it's going to take to dry. So, as you see right this minute, it's a powder, it crumbles like that. So now you're going to put about, I don't know, sort of mostly by eye this, maybe a little bit more than that. Then you're just going to mix it in. You don't want to make it too wet because if you make it too wet, it takes too long to dry, and so on and so forth. If you haven't put too much water in at any point, well not at any point, right at the beginning, it's sort of, if you put too much then you're screwed. But once it starts to go into this non-Newtonious state where you see if I hit it, it gets really solid, right? If you put too much water at that point there, then you can normally just pour the water out. So if you're next to a bucket or a sink or something, then you can just pour it out like that. Then you just mix that water in. Oh, I'm almost there. Drop more water. Let's see. Make sure you get all flour that's creeping up stays on the sides, because if not that will then give you white blobs in your color. Just a drop more water. See, too much water, so I'm going to pour that out. There you go, pour it out. So now this is pretty much done. This is it there, where you've got this powder that's now turned into this non-Newtonious liquid. You'll be able to pick it up, but then slowly but surely it will start to drip. As you see, it's really slow. If you want it to be faster and turn into a science experiment, you add more water. But for our case, we want it to be really, really slow, so it has barely any water in it. And as you see there, it's starting to drip. Now that you've done that, you're going to get your food coloring. So in this case, this is my last color that I've got to do. So I've got icing gel coloring. Get that out. Most colorings will look really dark because they're so pure. And if you're using these, I use about half a tub. This just looks like blood, pretty much for me. Yeah. So now what you're going to do is, it's almost needing this really weird substance that gets hard when you're really pressing it, and soft when it turns into liquid when you just leave it be. So the best way I find of mixing it is getting a lump of it and crushing it into a powder in your hand, and then that will slowly mix it in. If you're not pressed for time in the drying process and you want to make this process easier, you can add more water, but it all depends on what your time scale is. I only have 3 more, tops more days to dry this out, because I'm about to do that video there. So I've been at this for the past 10 minutes and it looks like it's pretty much done. So that's that there. And now of course once I leave that, it will turn back into that liquidy state. Anyway, now what you do, depending on how dry it is or wet it is, you're just going to leave it. And this could take anything from 2 days to 1 day, depending how dry it is, and you'll know it's ready when it's got cracks all over it. And when you've got cracks all over it, when it's just dry and it looks dry as well, and you'll be able to touch it and it feels dry, then you go on to this next stage, which I will show you now. Guys, once your powder is completely dry, well, not completely dry, as dry as it will get, this is how it will look. It'll have little dry bits, sometimes it will have cracks all over it, and if you're doing it in a plastic bowl, it'll be very loose on the bowl. Next up, you want to crunch it up into as fine a powder as you can possible. For this, you're going to need some sort of a blunt object, a sieve, some little plastic tubs, which come in handy for separating it later. First thing you want to do is crunch it up. You can do this with your fingers, but then you'll get stained hands like this. I'm doing another batch right now, and just crunch it up. It will still feel slightly damp because you haven't got all the moisture out, but that's what the next process is for, is to get absolutely every last drop of moisture out to turn it back into a powder. And then once you've pretty much crunched it up, you're then going to divide it into the 2 pots. And for the next part, you're going to need another clean bowl, or I'm just going to use the same bowl. I'm just going to go clean it and dry it. Alright, once you got yourself your dry bowl or your cleaned up old bowl, you let your sieve, shove that on top, get a whole pot of this and pour it on there. Now you're going to just sieve it through until you get the large bits that are going to stay, and then once you get the large bits, you're going to push it through the sieve to literally grate the large bits into that fine powder that you're making down there. While you're doing this, you want to go and turn your oven on, and you want to put it on the lowest power setting possible. Mine is at 50 degrees, and then open the door just ajar a little bit to heat up the air inside of it for the next process. The way I push it through is I get 3 fingers and I literally press it against the sieve. Once you've done a box, you're going to put that powder into one of the boxes and do the same for the next box. And then once you're done with both boxes, you're going to go and put all the contents of the old box into the bowl. I'll show you what you should end up with that. As fine a powder as possible. You want to go get yourself a baking tray or some foil, and obviously just put the foil into the baking tray with your extremely stained fingers. Once you've done that, you're going to put a fine layer of the powder all over your foil, and I would say about ½ centimeter, 1/4 of an inch, that is, yeah. And just very lightly place it on. If you have any lumps, just press them down so they turn into powders. And once you've done that, you should have something with the end result that looks a bit like this. And as you see, if I press down, it's a very, very small layer. So just cover that back up. And now, from there, you're going to go and put it in your cooker. You put that in, close it, but not all the way. Just open it just a little bit. And there. Now you're just going to leave that to dry between 15, 20, sometimes even 30, depending how wet your powder is. Alright, so once you have your first batch completed, it will come out a bit like this, all cracked, meaning that it's all dry. Let's see if I can get this to work. Yeah, that was it. Cracked like that, and it'll crunch almost. Once you have that, you're going to put it all back into the little boxes. And then just carry on till you're done. Alright, for this next part, once you have that dried, you're just going to shove it back in through the sieve. Alright, the powder is usable right this minute, but I just like going that one step further and really turning it into a fine powder. You're going to need yourself a pestle and mortar, and then just put in like a handful or three. Then just get crunching it up. And I'm going to show you before and after right now is how it will look like before. It's fine, but not the finest it could be. And this here is after. And as you heard, that one doesn't make a noise, the old one. That one doesn't make a noise. But this one, when you crunch it together, that's when you know it's done. So just keep grinding away. You can push down and twist, you can grind away. Just get it down into that fine powder if you want, and then that's it. Hey guys, alright, very quickly, if you don't feel like crunching it through the pestle and mortar, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, use a blender. Look, I'll show you it right now. So, here's my last batch that I've got to do. I've done all those already. Just get your medium crunched up stuff. Get your blender, make sure it's dry from your whatever last juice you've had with it. Stick it in. Oh, I hate doing it handheld like this in one hand. So unprofessional. Give me a second. Then just take it out. So yeah, just stick it into the blender. Ooh, that's what you get for doing it one-handed. Close it off, spin it on full power, and then you'll see the magic happen. I'll show you it here. As you see here, the really big bits, and there's the finer stuff, and now you're going to see the magic. And that's pretty much it done. Just give it a little shake now whilst you're doing it, and then that will be your powder ready to throw and completed. And that's it guys, super fine powder, quick and easy. Just quick little message, thumb up, it would be really appreciated if this helped you in any way. Would love to see your video responses of what you do with the powder yourself. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and please subscribe, would love that as well. You'll see some awesome videos come out from me. Anyway, later, keep on rocking.